Hello, everyone. This is Marie LaBrosse, and I'm coming to you from WKDW 97.5 FM, Real Community Radio, coming out of Northport, Florida, on the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower. And today, for my show, Sleuthing Eye-Opening Tales of the Past and also of the Future, because tomorrow will be the past, is special guest today. And I'm really, really pleased to have these two people because they're such influencers within our community. And I first would like to introduce to you Christine Carey. Christine Carey is the program and outreach coordinator for Valerie's House. And we're going to be talking about what Valerie's House is today. But before I bring her up on screen, I want to tell you a little bit a personal thing about Christine. Christine was my grandchild's kindergarten teacher, and then she came back and was her first grade teacher also. And Christine was a lifeline for our family, and I have a lot of respect for her. She has been a teacher. She was even a teacher out at the Babcock Ranch, the solar community. And we can talk a little bit about that. However, she's here for Valerie's House. So let me right now, happy St. Patty's Day, introduce you to Christine Carey.
Hi, Christine. Hi, Marie. Thank you so much for that introduction and having us on your show. Thank you.
Well, really, you're very welcome. And you've been such an influence in my personal family's life that I am so grateful for actually even knowing you and having you have been in our life. And I haven't seen you or talked with you in years.
Yes, it's been a long time.
But it doesn't matter how much time has passed. There's always those feelings, and the things that you had done for our family is forever priceless and grateful.
Thank you, Marie.
Thank you so much. And let's bring on our other person here to talk about Valerie's House. A lot of people in the community know her. And I didn't even know that she was involved with you as a volunteer at Valerie's House. And everybody, drum roll, please. We have with us Miss Reese as well. She's here. So, hi, Reese.
Hi there, Marie and Christine. I just saw Monday night. It is so nice to be on your show, Marie. I listen to it often, and to talk about what we do at Valerie's House as a volunteer. I'm just thrilled, but I do want to mention one thing. I'm actually sitting over here at Caldwell Banker Sunstar in Punta Gorda on Highway 41, and they've been sweet enough to let me take some time and share this venue with you and talk about Valerie's House, as they are contributors to Valerie's House as well through their Schmidt Family Foundation.
Okay, you're with the Schmidt family. Yes. In fact, Caldwell Banker is a big supporter of nonprofits in the communities, and they have been, and it's a very good real estate firm too. I just wanted to mention that. I have many friends that work with them or work for them. So thank you for mentioning that, because many times we don't recognize the businesses out there as much as they should be recognized for actually supporting these nonprofits out there. Now, let's start getting to the nitty gritty. What you been up to, guys? No.
What you been up to? Oh, boy.
Well, let's talk about Valerie's House, because I'm really interested in that. I've heard about Valerie's House. I didn't know anybody that had worked with them per se, and I'm going to let Christine take this away, because Christine, you're new with them. However, and you were working out at Babcock Ranch as a teacher out there.
Yes.
So how did this transition come about?
So yes, I was a teacher at Babcock Ranch, a kindergarten teacher. And about 2 years ago, 2018, wait a minute, is that 3 years ago now? Oh boy. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, it was one November day. I said bye to my kindergartners. I had 18 kindergartners. And that night, I received a text from one of the parents saying that their child had been killed in a car accident. And boy, when I heard that, I thought, where are we going to go from here with my class? Now I have 17 grieving children. I'm grieving the family that just lost their child. They're grieving. And so the next morning I got up and I said, I have to be there for the rest of my children. So I get choked up. Sorry, I get so choked up with this story. But so then from then on, we had to do activities and projects and just to help the children that were grieving. And a social worker told me, a school social worker said, let the children guide the grief. And so I did that all year. And at the end of the school year, I thought I want to work with children that need social emotional needs, something I just didn't know what I was going to do. But once that summer, I was on social media and up popped Valerie's house, and I thought, what's that? And I clicked on it, and it said, to help grieving children and families. And I thought, oh my gosh, I need to find out more. And they were opening Charlotte County, and I said, I need to work here. This is where my calling is. And this is where my student who died, I just felt like that's where he wanted me to be. And so I went for an interview at Valerie's house in Fort Myers, and I said, what can I do to work here? What do I, and I got a job there, and I was the program support coordinator at the time. And I helped open up, Charlotte County, Valerie's house, Punta Gorda. So I was there for the first night when it opened, and I've been there ever since. And it's just been such a journey and wonderful experience to go through. So that's kind of how it all started for me. We meet twice a month. It's the first and third Monday of every month, and it's from about 5:30 for our volunteers, our amazing volunteers, Risa and many others, and till about 8:30 at night. But the families come from 6 to 8. And we do art projects, we do activities, just to help them open up and talk about their grief. And we let them guide the conversations. We're there just to help facilitate. And so that's kind of what we do at Valerie's house to help the families. We split up into age groups. We have a high school group, a middle school group, elementary, preschool group, and caregiver group that night. And they all do the same project, but a little bit differently, or they have different discussions in their groups. And then we collaborate and get back together as a big group, and then we talk about it. And then they go on, at home, and we're there for resources too, to help the community, for our families as well. So we're there for them, however best we can help them, and we also do activities sometimes once a month, or we have different companies that will come in or do activities with the kids. We did a hydro dipping event, which was great. We've done a nail event for nails. It was really fun for the ladies and the teens. And so we just try to do, things with the families and to help them through this process, so they're not grieving alone. Mm-hmm.
And Reese,
yes,
you're a volunteer, but you're also a facilitator too, correct?
Well, yes, my position as a volunteer is as the facilitator, and I have a buddy that comes along with me in the room where I facilitate the littles, which is so far I've had pretty much 8 and 9-year-olds. Christine has the younger ones, and which she's perfect for because she was a kindergarten teacher in preschool. I've never been a teacher, but as a grandma, I surely have enormous compassion for these kids. And it's a really, really wonderful, very gratifying position that I've kind of fallen into. I actually started in the advisory board, but because I work full time plus doing the volunteering, it was just a bit much for me. But these children just need to chat, to cry, to do whatever it is they need to do with that particular day and that activity. And I wish there were more volunteers because Valerie's house can certainly use it.
Well, what is the need, Christine, for volunteers, and how would I volunteer?
Yes, there's a great need for volunteers right now. If you actually, you're on their website, if you go into get involved at the top, on the right, yeah, keep going right there. You'll see there's a lot of different ways to volunteer. You can click on that and it will share. You can scroll down a little bit. We need group volunteers, and that's actually what Risa does. She's a group facilitator, and you can also, request what age group you like. Some people prefer teens or middle school groups or the younger kids, so that's also an option. You see there we have greeters, we did have dinner helpers, but right now during the pandemic, it's been on hold. So we do before pandemic, and hopefully soon after this pandemic, we'll go back to having potluck dinners, and also we have the community donate dinners too. So that's another way to help. So that's one way to be a facilitator, and that is our greatest need right now. So I would share that. Also, if you go back, if you go to Val's Pals, right there, that's a mentor program, and that requires 4 hours a month. And there is a training, by the way, for both of these, the facilitator as well as the mentor training. There is a background check. We also do that as well for both. And this Val's Pals is 4 hours a month. It can be, spread out, of course, and you can do fun projects. You can go out, you can go to the parks, you can do all sorts of things. Or if you feel more comfortable doing virtual, you can do that as well.
Now, are you with the family or with a child through their period of time? And how long do people go through this? How many, because with Valerie's house, you're a support group pretty much, aren't you?
Right.
Is what it ends up being.
Yes, we're a grief support group. When they're in their groups, that is not a counseling session. So if they do need that extra support, we now offer counseling one-on-one if that's needed. We have clinical social workers and mental health facilitators on staff that can help with that. But yes, it's a group, grief group support. And they stay in the program as long as they want to, because grief never ends, as we know. So some facilities say, you have a semester. We don't do that, though. You can come, and let's say you're feeling better and you're ready to, not come for a while, then you can do that and then come back. We've had that before as well. So it really depends on the family, how their grief is going, that type of thing. We just take them for where they are and work with them. And this is a great site right here that you're on. This is Valerie, the one in the nurse right there. Angela, she's at the top. Right there. Her mom, Valerie, that was in the nurse outfit and also in the red picture, in the picture in the red. Yes, right there. When Angela was 10 years old, she was at a summer camp with her sister, and her little sister is in that picture. And they were waiting for mom to pick them up from summer camp, and mom never showed up. And they found out that she was killed in a car accident. So this happened in Fort Myers, and they had no grief groups down there. There was nothing. And so she had to kind of just figure it out and pick up. And then school started. She just kept, working from there. And then when she graduated college, she went into broadcasting, and then came back to Fort Myers and thought, you know what, I want a place for children to be able to grieve. And not grieve alone. And that's kind of where it all started when she got back from college. And
that's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
To experience that, and the grieving part does not matter whether it's your child or a husband or a mother or a parent or whatever. Grief is a hard thing to deal with. And Reese,
Yes.
talking with you, and I have to unmute you because I was getting some back feed. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. No, I did have you unmuted. Why did you get involved?
Well, I got involved primarily because one of the little girls in one of the pictures that with our wonderful fearless leader that has started all this, Angela, my daughter used to actually babysit her and after school. And unbeknownst to me, she and her mom were one of the very first families that was part of Angela's group. And she's in there. I'm not going to point her out. But she later, when I mentioned this, her mom, who I've stayed in touch with, she was actually a customer of mine, so I knew her both personally and business-wise. She mentioned to me that this wonderful group in Fort Myers pretty much saved both of them through the grieving process. And I was so impressed that I decided, you know what? My grandchildren are getting older. I'm also getting older. And you know what? They're going to see some grief in their lives, probably sooner than later, with the grandparents getting so elderly. And I decided I wanted to help the other children. And actually, just not to go on and cut me off, but when I first came to Angela and I was going through the training process, I said, I do not want little children. I do not want little children. Don't put me in with little children, because if I can't hug them, it'll make me crazy. But they put me with the little children. And I actually could not be happier. And I think that I'm being a grandma. I think they look at me as though I'm a grandma, and I can share with them some of my experiences. So with all the grief that I've experienced in my lifetime.
Right, exactly. Especially as we get older, Reese, you're older than I am, and I'm over that weight threshold mark now, and we're experiencing more and more grief. And with COVID this year, Christine, have you seen even an increase of stress because of that? And I know suicide is up too. And have you been seeing more intake or people that are getting involved because of a loss of someone during this COVID? Not only because of suicide, because of COVID. You know, how many people have lost people because of COVID? Over 500 and quarter million, 525,000. And my mother is still recovering from COVID. We almost lost her. And my mom can't walk right now. She looks great, but she can't walk, and she's lost some of her cognitive. So there's grieving there going for the losses that we even see in people that have gone through it. They haven't passed away yet, but we've seen this even with younger people. So what are you guys seeing?
Yes. Well, right now there's over 1,760 children here in Charlotte County that have lost a parent. And that's the numbers are going up. And so, yes, with COVID, suicides, all of that is going up. And during right in the heart of the pandemic, when it first hit, actually this time last year in March, we had to close our doors, for Valerie's house. It was a very sad moment. Most businesses had to shut their doors because of exposure, if anyone would be exposed. So we had to shut the doors, and we'll never forget that moment. A week later, though, we started virtual groups. Only a week later, and we had art activities. We mailed things to the families to do, and then we did Zoom virtual groups with all of the families. It was a lot of coordinating, a lot of work, but we were able to do that as a team. And with that said, I mean, yes, the numbers are going up, but we have not reached the 1,760 children here in Charlotte County. We're not servicing them yet. That's why your show is so important to us. And just getting the word out there is extremely important to all of us at Valerie's house. And we are now doing in-person groups. We're also doing virtual groups to accommodate all of our families. And now I'm slowly getting back into the school groups, which is very exciting. In Sarasota Public Schools, we're allowed back in the schools. And so it's been such a blessing to be back there because I was there beforehand. In Charlotte County, there's still a lot of restrictions. And so we're excited to go back eventually, to Charlotte County. I served at Charlotte Academy last year. I was there, and there's other schools in Charlotte County that have asked for our services, but we're waiting until we can be in person again. So yes, there is a need. We just need to let everyone know we're here, and we're with welcome arms to help them, virtually or in person, whatever they feel comfortable with at this point.
So, and that number,
it's staggering.
No idea. Mm-hmm. I had no idea that many children in this county have lost a parent. I mean, we're not talking other people, a parent.
Just the parent alone. And so 1 in 7 children in Charlotte lose a parent by the time they turn 25. So that's like 2 kids in a classroom, or more actually. So 1 in 14 children in Charlotte County, 1 in 14 children in Charlotte County will lose a parent by the age of 18. Mm. So that's 2 in a classroom. It's heartbreaking. About 40 children at Valerie's house, Punta Gorda, and about 23 caregivers. So if you're thinking of those numbers, we're just needing help to get the word out.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, where is Valerie's house in Punta Gorda? Where is it located?
The Valerie's house, Punta Gorda, is located at the First United Methodist Church on Marion Avenue. Oh. They've been so generous, amazing facility for us. We've been able to use their facility and we're trying to raise money to get a house. That's our goal. To get a house for these families. We don't live in this house. A lot of people ask if we live there. We don't live there. But we just use the home as a second home to help the families through the art projects and activities that we do. So that's our goal.
the First Methodist Church has such a history in Punta Gorda. When I do my trolley tours, and hopefully eventually I can get back to doing those, that is one of the pillars in Punta Gorda that I always talk about because it has such a very valuable history there. And that is a generous thing that they have offered that facility because they've done a lot of addition to it. And it is a beautiful facility to go to and actually be able to do that. Now, Reese,
Yes.
I'm bringing you back up. Now, you told us how you got involved and why you got involved. And grief-wise, what has struck you as a volunteer? How much your difference is making in these children's lives?
Well, I'm hoping quite a bit. One never knows because we don't go home with them. However, an example was just this past Monday. We had an activity, some activities they just enjoy, and they may mention their loved one because they always, that's the way we start out in group. We talk about what scale they're at, 1 to 10, that particular day, and who their special person is. And typically I don't have in mine a whole lot of tears, but some of the activities just kind of strike them and bring out all that that information about what their grief process has been since they've lost their loved one. And Monday night, it just struck each one of the children, and they shared, and it was so cathartic. And they giggled afterwards, and we went back to the good memories instead of the bad memories. And it was actually my first time of having that aha moment that this is why I'm here. And it was awesome. So I'm hoping that when they went home that night, they had a little bit of a weight lifted off them, and realize that the more they talk about it, the more that they share with the others in the group, which, by the way, never leaves the room. That is, whatever they say is said in confidence, and they trust us. So it's very, very gratifying. And if I just affect one person, one little kid that I can't wait to start hugging, by the way, then I'll feel like I've really done something here.
Well, and you've been vaccinated now too. I know you were one of the first ones that got it. Actually, in December, was December your first
as soon as it came out, I really lucked out. I don't know how I did it, but I lucked out. I've had both my vaccines, but we keep our masks on, and the children keep their masks on. So, because, you never know. And Valerie's house wants to be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Christine, I want to talk to you about if I'm a parent and there's been a death in the family, how do I find it? See, this is the whole thing. How do you find out about you? That's why you need to be in the schools, right? To be
Yes.
able to get the word out that way. And how do I sign up as a parent? How do I get my child involved?
Great question. So the teachers, the staff, they're a huge, integral part of getting referrals for us. There's actually on the website a referral form. So staff members or mental health facilitators it will say referrals, contacts and referrals at the second line down. Oh, there it is, right there. So if you go to, yes, right there, refer a child. Right there. Mm-hmm. That is, if you scroll down, if you get permission from the family, you can actually do a referral. And there it says professional referrals. Or if you're a family and you're seeking help, you click on that and you can it's very easy, very simple questions. The other way a family can contact me, or professional could just call me. They can call my number, and I can give that to you. I don't know if you have that available.
I don't, but we'll put
No,
it
that's
on.
another one.
Okay.
It's 239.
Go ahead.
Okay, 239-841-0382.
Okay.
You can also email me, and that is, do you have that email, or do you need that?
Is that the Christine at Valerie's House?
ValeriesHouse.org. So, yeah, those are ways to contact us, and we can start the intake process. So that process starts with one of the facilitators that work there. Yeah, perfect. You got it. And then we'll do we'll ask you ask them questions. Then we'll do a tour of Valerie's house, and then if we feel that they're ready for Valerie's house, then they'll come to a group night. They just don't come all at once. It's a lot. It can be very overwhelming. So we have steps in order to come to Valerie's house. And that's how that works. I did want to piggyback on Risa. She's an amazing volunteer. Love her. So glad she's here today. We actually we were together when Risa first started. She was a volunteer in my group. So all the facilitators have a lead facilitator and a co-facilitator. And so that's how you kind of start being a volunteer, being the assistant to the lead. And so we had so much fun together, Risa and I. With confidentiality, one of those is we have rules for Valerie's house, and she mentioned confidentiality. All like what they do share stays in the room, except if they're going to hurt someone or someone's going to hurt them. If they share that information, we legally have to, get them help, right away. So I did want to just, throw that out there too.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
is that something that you do see, that because of the stress of the grief and that you do end up, because I know Charlotte County has a high rate of child abuse. How does that work?
Well, if they do report it to us, we have to be reporters and call DCF or contact DCF. Yeah, we have to do that. And so if the volunteer hears it and they share that with us, that's our obligation. We have to do that. We have to report it. Okay.
Now, looking at how Valerie's house came to be and about the grief and how you got involved in it, how it hit you with one of your students dying, right. I would imagine because you were a teacher all these years, you've seen children in your class that don't have a parent, and it's not because of divorce or anything, it's because of death. Can you speak a little bit about that through the years? Because I know that even personally, when you're talking about grief or even services that are needed for different things, you've been very helpful with our family. When we needed help, and it had nothing to do with grief. It was other things going on, but you were able to be a supportive person for our family when you were a teacher. And where do you see the comparison is? Because you, as a former teacher, and you transitioning over to Valerie's house, and you still have that teacher blood in you.
Yes.
That.
Right. Yeah. And so I still had to, of course, go through the volunteer training. I'm not a volunteer. I'm on staff. But one of the things we talk about as facilitators is the less we talk in our group, the more successful the group will be that night, just so that because they're interacting and talking. It's not like a teacher standing up there and then me teaching the kids. It's them engaging with each other because it's a grief support group. It's their group, and so we're facilitators, sharing an activity that we're going to do with them, and that just brings out the conversations of that particular part of grief. We do a lot of projects with the colors of emotion. I should have that with me. It's all the colors. We do a variety of colors, and with that, it has the emotion that kind of ties in with that color. Are you finding it? Oh, maybe you'll find it. It's anyway. So we talk a lot about colors of emotion. We talk about our grief through that. But yes, as a teacher, yes, the training I had as a teacher definitely helped. Me with these groups. Just with management and pacing, that type of stuff is helpful in a grief support group. And so with that, it's just been a great experience. I'm trying to find the colors of emotion for you. But yeah, it should be on our website somewhere, but that it's been helpful. The difference is what we do in the schools. When we go into the schools, I predominantly work with a social worker or a guidance counselor, and I'll come in, we'll pull those kids from their classroom, and they'll be in a group of students, usually between 6 to 8 students. Eight is about the top group, the amount of kids in a group. And usually it's lower elementary or upper elementary or middle school or high school. And we'll have them in a group, and then with the counselor and I, we will do our grief group that way. So they're not in the classroom when we're doing our grief group. They're in a different room with other kids that are grieving. So it helps the teacher because all of our services are free of charge. So this is just a support to help the teachers and the staff when a child does lose a loved one, because they could possibly exhibit some behaviors in the classroom, because of this. And so, we're, now that we're back in Sarasota County, it's been very welcoming and opening. The teachers are very excited to have us back in as a support, to help them in their classroom when the kids go back into their rooms.
I'm looking at these statistics in our area here, and it is staggering.
Yes, this is huge. So this is 1 in 8, by parent or sibling. Some of the statistics I was saying was just parent only. This is parent and sibling by age of 25. 1 in 8. Yeah. So that's again it could be about 2 in a classroom.
Yeah, and
a lot.
What are the stages of grief?
So we don't do the stages of grief. We talk about grief theories. We talk about the 5 universal realities of grief. Grief is personal, transitional, seen, unseen, integral, and a shared experience. So we kind of stay away from those stages because not everyone goes through the stages of grief, all of them. Or it could be sporadic. They could feel one way or another. So we talk about the 5 universal realities of grief and the process of recovering from the grief. Like we talk about it being very individualized. It involves self-care, developing healthy coping skills, adjusting to new reality, and adapting a new sense of identity. So that's what we kind of focus on, and our activities are integrated through that.
Mm-hmm. Now, with the kids in Charlotte County, they were doing both in-person or virtual, depending. In Sarasota County, I think they were doing the same, correct?
So yes, we have children from Sarasota County that go to Valerie's house, predominantly Northport, because Sarasota, if you get too deep into Sarasota, it's really far away. So right now we're in the Northport children. I go to the schools. Some of those students actually go to Valerie's house, Punta Gorda. So I see them both. But we do have families from Northport, Inglewood, Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda that go to Valerie's house, Punta Gorda at this time.
Okay.
And then we also have a facility in Fort Myers for Valerie's house, Fort Myers, Valerie's house, Pensacola. So we're moving around, Charlotte or, Florida.
Okay.
But predominantly we're in Southwest Florida.
And I know I'm on the board of directors for the Northport Arts Center, and my co-host is the executive director of the Northport Arts Center that we do a show, Kaleidoscope of the Arts, on. It actually will be airing right now when we get off the air. And with that, she said that you had outreach to her.
Yes, I was just going to say, that's small world.
Yeah, and I said, well, I'm having Christine on the show tomorrow that I'm actually doing an interview with her. And she said, you know, Christine? I said, yeah. She said, you know everybody.
Oh, you know everyone, Marie.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm going to do a tour and I'll do a presentation for the Northport Art Center. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's a great art center. They're very community involved. I'm giving them a shout out. I'm very careful of going on boards, because I've been asked to be on a lot of boards, and I'm on 2 right now, and I make it a habit only to be on one, but I saw a need to come on theirs at this time, although sometimes I wonder if I'm crazy when I do things like that. Because when I get involved, right, Reese?
You get really in it.
Yeah, just like she does. And so reaching out, because I know when we were taking our grandchild to therapy, they treat the children differently than they do adults, and they do it through play. I would go, we're paying for them to be playing Monopoly or a game down in the sandbox, but that's how they actually get the child to release, and how they act out, especially in the sandbox thing. If there's anything going on, they actually sometimes show it that way. So it's really, really interesting with you, because are you finding that too, is dealing with the children doing arts and crafts, you can see a lot of things that are traumatized within themselves.
Right. And what we notice too is sometimes they're not verbally ready to talk about it, like you were just talking about. And so through the arts, we do a lot of activities and projects. We do one with a mask, and we have a mask on the outside. It's just a white mask. But with the colors of grief that I was sharing with you, we talk about our outside feelings and what does that look like? Because sometimes we perceive ourselves to look all happy on the outside, but inside there's a different story going on. And so with that particular activity, which is one of my favorites, the children talk about how they're feeling on the outside. What does the outside look like of their mask? And then they paint it. And so it could be yellow, which means happy, or it could be, black, which means that color we associated with lonely. Each color has a different meaning. Not to say that it has to be that. That's just what we use for Valerie's house. And blue is sad. We use blue for sad. But then so they can paint that, and then on the inside, then they share how they're feeling on the inside with the paint colors. And so it could be 2 different paint colors, on the outside versus inside. Sometimes the children want to share that. Sometimes they don't, but we can, we're seeing how they're experiencing and feeling that way. And then they can bring it home with them and talk to their loved one. When they're ready and they feel comfortable, they can talk to a sibling or, whoever they feel comfortable. And that's an engaging conversation, for the families. So it may look like it's playtime, but there's more meaning to it. These activities, there's meaning to launch more conversation, either in our grief group or at home.
And even adults.
Mm-hmm.
Art is so important. I'm sorry, people that don't believe that, but art is all around us in developing anything. And a lot of us as an adult express ourselves through art.
Yeah.
No matter whether it's in writing, because literature is part of art, or in a painting, or even in doodling or doing something like that. Now, Reese,
Yes.
how do you express yourself?
Excuse me?
How do you express yourself?
I was just thinking about that actually. I write, and too often I've gotten on Facebook and written what I was thinking, but which I've tried to stop now, for the most part. But I write. I have journals, and if something is really bothering me or I'm extremely happy, I'll open to a blank page and I start writing. Um, if I don't do that, I'm not a depressed person, but if I'm very upset about something, I do internalize it, and that comes out in medical issues.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. And you do
I
see
write.
that happen. Yeah. You do see that happen, that stress does create some medical
Oops,
issues. And
are we
I'm sure
there?
I'm sure Christine that you have run
Did
across
you
that
lose
too. Yeah.
Definitely. And I was thinking about that question too. For me, it's music. I like to play the piano. It really is great to have an outlet. And we encourage the children and families to have something, to
Yeah.
express their emotions and feelings. It's a really good thing to do. So yeah, that's what I do too.
It's good to be able to do sports and run around, but to be creative and to
Mhm.
actually express yourself, I think that heals the soul. I really
Definitely.
do.
I agree.
That
Yes.
to be able to do that. Ladies, we're coming to the end of our program. It went by so fast. I've learned so much about Valerie's house, and I would like to remind the audience, if you have somebody out there that could use the services of Valerie's house, if you know somebody that's out there is grieving, that's a child, reach out to Valerie's house, get permission if it's not your child to actually reach out and get the services there. ValeriesHouse.org is scrolling across the bottom. It's www.valeries with a S house.org, and go to the website. They have all the resources there that you can actually register online for everything. And then Christine's phone number to reach her is, Christine, go ahead and say it.
It's 239-841-0382. And my email address is christine@valerieshouse.org.
Very good. And if you're listening to this on the radio and you're not seeing the visual part that we have on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, you can go, if you don't remember it, go back to our Facebook or YouTube Live videos, and that information will be up there written for you across the stream. So everybody, thank you so much for coming on with us. Today is St. Patty's Day. The show will air on the radio on Friday, March 19th at 12:04 p.m. on WKDW 97.5 FM, Real Community Radio, and you can listen online at www.kdwradio.com, or you can say to your Alexa app, Alexa, play WKDW 97.5 FM, and we will come on. Thank you all. Thank you, Christine, for coming on with us today. For Reese, thank you for coming on today. And thank you to Caldwell Banker for letting you come on with us today. And to all of your sponsors out there, Christine, I want to do a shout out. I saw a bunch right here: Suncoast Credit Union, Naples Children NCF Education
And
Foundation.
Keller Williams right now is doing a big, promotion for us right now, fundraising
Okay,
event. So,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
tell
doing
us
great.
about that. What are they doing?
So every year they have Red Day, and they have chosen Valerie's House Punta Gorda for their Red Day event, which will be in May. So their goal is to reach $50,000. So we're hoping they reach that goal for us. We're trying to get a house. So
Oh,
thank
very
you for
good.
them.
Very good. And to all your sponsors out there,
Yes.
I want to mention United Way,
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte Community Foundation, and NTech. And then you are the Gold Seal of Transparency, that you have actually been designated as a Gold Seal of Transparency in the nonprofit world. Thank you so much, Christine.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
And thank you for being the wonderful person that you are
Aw,
and making a difference in our world.
thank
Because
you.
we all have choices in life to be kind or not to be kind, to make a difference in people's lives. Choose kindness. It doesn't cost you anything, and pay it forward, because you can make a difference in that child's life that's grieving, in that other person's life. You never know what their story is by their outward appearance. Thank you all. See you again next week on Sleuthing, Eye-Opening Tales of the Past. Bye-bye.
Thank you.